My boss laughed when I said I'd quit one day, so I bought the business and fired him. My first real job was at an auto repair shop on the edge of town, sandwiched between a pawn store and a diner with a flickering sign that buzzed all night. I was 19, broke, fresh out of trade school, trying to prove I was more than another kid with greasy hands. The owner, Mr. Grant, was old school. Gruff voice, nicotine fingers, thought verbal abuse was motivational leadership. He'd scream at mechanics in front of customers, toss tools, underpay everyone, and tell us to be grateful you've got work. Every morning smelled like oil, burnt coffee, and fear of being the next in his sights. But I stayed, because my mom's medical bills didn't pay themselves, and it was the only steady paycheck in town. The first year, I kept my head down, learned everything I could. Diagnostics, systems, management software. Some nights after close, I'd sit at the computer updating inventory, just to understand how the business side worked. Grant would stumble out of his office, drunk, laugh, and say, "Kid, you think this shop will ever be yours? Dream smaller." I didn't answer. I just saved. Every extra dollar went to night classes, small business, finance, accounting. I started freelancing, fixing cars out of a rented garage after hours. When customers asked why I stayed working for Grant, I said, "It's not forever." Then one winter, everything changed. He called me into his office, half hungover, reeking of beer, and tossed my paycheck onto the desk. "Don't get too comfortable, kid," he slurred. "You'd be nothing without me. This shop made you." I looked him in the eye for the first time and said, "Maybe one day, it'll make me enough to leave." He laughed. "You? Quit? You'll die here like the rest." That laugh stayed in my head longer than it should have. A month later, he sold half the business to cover gambling debts, to a silent partner. A silent partner who, through a mutual contact, turned out to be the lender I'd been saving to buy from. I made an offer quietly, legally, clean. 10 months later, when Grant defaulted on payments, my contract clause kicked in. Paperwork switched ownership. Effective immediately. New proprietor. He didn't realize until the day the letter arrived. He stormed into the shop mid-morning, shouting, "What kind of joke is this? My name's on the sign." I handed him the deed folder. Not anymore. The silence that followed was almost holy. Then I said the words that had been waiting 3 years to leave my mouth. "You'd be nothing without this shop. Turns out I'll be fine with it." He didn't believe it. Begged to stay. Just until things settle. HR, meaning me, accepted his resignation. The first day as owner, I switched the schedule, raised wages, paid off backed up invoices, and ordered new safety gear. The younger techs, the ones he used to call useless, worked harder than ever once someone treated them like humans. A month later, local news ran a piece. Small town mechanic revives failing auto shop. They asked for a quote. I said, "We're just working hard, nothing fancy." Grant left town shortly after. Now, 5 years later, the shop's triple its size. We sponsor trade students. Half the crew who used to dread mornings now run their own bays. Sometimes a new customer asks about the old owner. I just smile and say, "He taught me everything I needed to do the opposite." And when I lock up after closing, lights humming over polished floors, I still hear his voice every so often. "You think this shop will ever be yours?" And I smile to the empty garage. Because the only sound louder than his laughter now is the hum of engines running right beneath my name.